Today it's time for us to talk about the latest Megadeth album. This is my 1996, I think, Cali, made in Japan one. And actually I thought it was made in Korea, but it says made in Japan. So it's a Cali 3 and it's signed by Megadeth. I thought I'd have to take out this guitar because recently Megadeth announced their final album, and for me, being a big Megadeth fan, of course I was asked about my opinion on that album, so today I would like to share it. I was listening to all of the songs the last couple of days, so I heard it I think 4 or 5 times, the whole album in its entirety, and I think it's really strong. To me it's like the strongest album, I think, like Youthanasia, and that is my favorite album by far. And the reason for that is here I enjoy listening to all of the songs. And with most of the albums after Youthanasia, there were usually some songs which I don't enjoy too much listening to. They all had great songs, great productions, but this one is really, I think the amount of great songs is much bigger than on the recent albums. So let's go quickly over this, the songs. First one is Tipping Point, the first single. You may know it. It's an up-tempo song with classic riffage, like you may know from Rattlehead or Holy Wars. So nothing surprisingly, but it is nice. And as always with these songs, with these riffage Megadeth songs, as I call them, there were a couple on, especially Rust in Peace, where I thought the riffs may not fit perfectly to the song. And on this album, they have a couple of songs where they had fast riffage, but the difference is here in this album, I think the riffs, they all fit badass to the songs. And that is also the case with Tipping Point. The next one, I Don't Care, is a song which I like pretty much musically. It's pretty simple, like you may know from maybe 99 Ways to Die. And other than that, it has a ton of great solos, which is maybe Timo's contribution. The lyrics may appear a little bit cheesy to you, especially to you native English speakers. To me, as I'm not a native English speaker, I don't care so much for the lyrics, but I can understand that some lyrics can get annoying. When I'm listening to songs in my mother language, German, it's the same. Then I cannot just blend out the words and the meaning sometimes, and then it can get annoying if the lyrics are too cheesy, but I don't know. So I don't want to get into that too deep. I know Megadeth are criticized sometimes for having cheesy lyrics, but musically I think it's a good song. And the next one, Hey God, is also a little bit slower. So this album has a good amount of like the melodic Megadeth songs you may know from the Youthanasia album, from Cryptic Writings, but also a good amount of the fast riffage songs like Rust in Peace or even Killing Is My Business like. And Hey God is definitely on the slower side, more melodic side. And yeah, it reminds me a little bit to like these Blood of Heroes kind of songs on the Youthanasia album. And then we have Let There Be Shred, which is my favorite riffage song, as I would say, because I think this song has really a kick-ass intro riff. It has also kick-ass riff in the bridge part, and overall outstanding solo work especially by Timo. So this is a very good example for a song where all the riffs fit, at least in my opinion, perfect to the song. So yeah, it's also a very fast song, like the Holy Wars or the maybe on the more recent albums they also had songs like that. The Head Crusher on the Endgame record, what was it called? Kick the Chair, I think, on the System Has Failed record. And then we have Puppet Parade, also a little bit slower, more melodic song. To me, I would say this is one of my favorites on the record. It reminds me a little bit of a mixture of Almost Honest and what's the other one? This Was My Life. So Almost Honest, the intro riff, and then This Was My Life, the little melody in the background of the chorus, which is very characteristic on This Was My Life. And here we have this. The song has also a very well worked out middle section with a great solo and a great halftime section. It has also very kick-ass riff, like in maybe the Wanderlust, the Risk album. Everything fits perfect to me. This classic 90s Megadeth to me. And yeah, I love it. Another Bad Day is a little bit more simplistic, if that is a word. Also a mid-tempo 90s kind of Megadeth song. And maybe you can compare it also to some of these simpler songs on the recent albums, like on the 13 album they had this like Nightshade, I think, Deadly Nightshade, or the what was it called, on the Super Collider they had also some of these songs, Forgot to Remember. Yeah, a little bit more like a pop song, not really metal, but nice melody as also all the other songs. And then we have Made to Kill. That is something which starts obviously with a riff that is kind of like the Set the Ball of Fire famous intro riff. Then it goes into some 6/8 part, like you find also on what is it called, Sleepwalker, I think. And then it goes into a very fast section. So it's classic 80s Megadeth in my opinion, and I think it's pretty obvious that they wanted to get a little bit of that so far so good vibe. I think they achieved it perfectly. Of course, it was a much better production than in the 80s. So yeah, really nice. And then we have Obey the Call, which is also not that fast. Although the end section is a little bit faster. It's more like, well, a darker sounding mid-tempo song, like maybe Trust on the Cryptic Writings record. Reminds me a little bit of that. And the chorus is also, it's melodic, but it's a little bit, very simple and dark sounding melody. And then we have I Am War, which is also a mid-tempo song, and it has a very nice short solo, which is done by Timo, I think. I wish, though, that the solo was a little bit longer, but it's really melodic, and this reminds me a little bit of the Tears and Vial song from the System Has Failed record. And yeah, no fast riffage in that, but also nice melody. Then we have the last note, which is a little bit faster. It starts with the spoken section, also ends with the spoken section, but the middle of the song is more, up tempo, like maybe She-Wolf or what is it called? Dread and Fugitive Mind. It has also a very nice solo with an acoustic guitar, and then it goes into a section, solo section with an electric guitar. And overall, the harmonies, there's a famous Megadeth harmony progression in some of the songs, like you find in Tornado of Souls also, or maybe Mary Jane. But here you have it. So yeah, it definitely reminds me to the Dread and Fugitive Mind, which has also this chord progression in the chorus. And then we have Ride the Lightning, obviously cover of the Metallica song from the album Ride the Lightning. I personally like it. Of course, the production is much better than in on the original song or the Metallica version, and it definitely sounds to me like a Megadeth song. I think I prefer the vocals by James Hetfield in the 80s, but it is also because I was used to it. And I think if Dave Mustaine would have sung that song in the 80s, then he would sound much better on that one, because nowadays, well, you may know that he doesn't hit the high notes very well, so he's interpreting the song a little bit differently vocal-wise. Solos are more or less copied, at least from my from what I remember. What I found a little bit odd is it sounds perfect, like Megadeth are playing it perfectly on time, but then the drummer Dirk Verbeuren, he is, I think, kind of playing all the Lars Ulrich fills, and to me that doesn't fit his style very well. So I would be, for me it would be more interesting to hear him and his ideas for drum fills on that song, rather than these really cheesy and easy Lars Ulrich drum fills. I don't want to bash Lars here, because I think Lars is a good drummer for Metallica, and he did some great things, especially on the more slower songs, like on the Black album. I liked his drumming very, very much. But as I said here, as Dirk is such a well, technically perfect drummer, I would be interested in hearing him throw in some kick-ass drum fills here in the song. And yeah, other than that, it's Ride the Lightning, a little bit polished and with Dave Mustaine's voice. And then we have Bloodlust and Nobody's Hero. I think 2 bonus tracks, but these tracks are really, really great. So I think they are even stronger than some tracks on the album. For example, like Another Bad Day, or stronger than I Am War. Bloodlust is something which is more like it has a punk rock attitude to me, same like I Don't Care. And you had that also in the 90s in some songs like High Speed Dirt. And Bloodlust is also an up-tempo number, so maybe this is a comparison that fits best. High Speed Dirt, yes. And there are also some songs with a little bit weird harmonies on Cryptic Writings, I think. Songs like Sin or Have Cool Will Travel. But they are much slower. So Bloodlust is faster, and yeah, as I said, it reminds me like a little bit like these High Speed Dirt. Also Crown of Worms, maybe. Something like that. Skin of My Teeth. And then we have Nobody's Hero, which is a little bit slower, but also really 90s Megadeth-ish. Blood of Heroes. To me, it reminds me pretty much to Counter to Extinction, the song. And that might be harmony-wise, but also you have these ringing chords in the verse, like also the song Counter to Extinction has. It has a nice catchy chorus and also a great guitar solo section. So overall, well, to me it's more than a bonus track. It should have been on the album, in my opinion. Production wise, you have to mention the drum and the guitar tone and compare it to the other albums. And I have to say, of course, nowadays the albums are sounding more sonically produced than in the 90s, although like the albums like Youthanasia or Counter to Extinction, for the time when they were done, they sounded perfect to me, and they still do. But if you compare this album here to the more recent albums like 13 or Endgame or Dystopia, I think it sounds pretty close to the last one, Sick, the Dead, and the Dying, or Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, and also Dystopia. I personally prefer the sound of 13, Endgame, and maybe also Super Collider. Especially the guitars, they sound a little bit too, well, trebly here on that album, for my taste. Not that full and rich in the mids, they have a little bit too much highs. And also the drums, they sound a little bit dry. I think they had a little bit of a better mix on 13. I compared it yesterday because I didn't listen to 13 for a long time, and also to Endgame, and man, these albums, they sound kick-ass, they're sonically produced. I hope I can see Megadeth live once again, and I think Dave did a great job singing these songs, but obviously he doesn't have the range, his voice doesn't have the range like he had maybe 10 years ago, or even more than 20 years ago. And if you compare it, if you listen to maybe 13 or Endgame, on these albums, I think there was way more aggression in the vocals than on this album here. And that is something which is, of course, due to the age. Maybe some people cannot sing at his age with that aggression and that power like in a younger age. So I don't want to criticize it, it's just my my honest opinion. So I think a little bit of the aggression is lost. It might also have to do something with the lower tuning they're using nowadays. But yeah, it's definitely an album which is worth for Megadeth to end the career. It has elements from all over their career, I think. Of course, I'm interested in what do you think about the album. Please leave your comments below. Consider subscribing to my channel and enjoy the album. See ya.